night for the helpless. Hoping you get us through breakfast. Wishing somebody come save us. Black lightning's back, come to shock the haters.
Welcome, folks. We're back for another recap of Black Lightning, episode 2. The Lawanda, the Book of Hope. And yeah, I am here with my boy Sam from JVS. What's going on, man?
Yo, what's going on, bro?
Yeah, D was going to start with us, but something came up, so he's going to be with us next week for our recaps and stuff. So definitely want to be on for this. But yeah, let me ask you this. What did you think of the first episode? Because me and Mo from Earth 2 Comic Cast, we were talking about it and stuff, loved it. But what did you think of that first episode?
Dude, it was funny because when we went and got to see it in DC, like I was kind of like, all right, this is going to be the black version of a CW show. What I did not realize is that this is its own entity that I don't want connected to any CW show that is not just pro-black, but it was written a certain kind of way. And like the dialogue, the scenes, it to me might have been the perfect DC TV pilot, because a lot of people say the Flash pilot was probably one of the best, but this one, I think that
they came out the
bounds. Yeah, like I was like, yo, this person just got used as a human shield and got shot up. Yo, they use like real terminology that would happen in open dialogue. Yeah. Yes, they push the border sometimes, but yo, this is great. CG was pretty good. The only complaint some people would say would be the costume, but I know that this is all going to evolve and progress. This is his first new costume. But dude, I thought the first episode was great. I give it a 10 personally.
Yeah. Oh, side note, our boy, shout out to Gary Peoples. He's a buddy of ours. I went to high school with him. Me and D went to high school and middle school with him, and he's a stunt guy. And he was the one that Black Lightning used as a shield that got shot up.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I didn't even know it was him until like he put a screenshot. He's like, oh yeah, I was on Black Lightning. I completely forgot that he worked on Black Lightning because he mentioned it, and I never put two and two together. And he was like, oh yeah, that was me. And I was like, oh man, because he's been in Luke Cage, and he's been on Jessica Jones. He's actually going to be in the Infinity War movie that's coming up and stuff. And yeah, man, it's dope as hell. And in Black Panther, so yeah, it's gonna be dope. But episode 2, man, I gotta say, man, they the Achilles, they do not pull any punches. I mean, okay, let's start on. I'll say like if there was the thing a bit, what I loved about the first episode is that they set the tone kind of like with Luke Cage with the soundtrack. The soundtrack of the show, there is a lot of familiar music and there's a lot of original music. Some of the original music is from the Achilles' son, and a lot of other music is music that we grew up with. So in this episode in particular, I like that it started off with Al Green's. Simply Beautiful? That's the name of the song. And it just started off, and you got Jefferson, and I dubbed it like he's having lightning PMS and stuff. I don't know, he's struggling with his powers, and then they cut to the whole thing with the TV. Everybody's saying, "Oh man, Black Lightning, he's back," I guess. And I just simply like the fact that while he's doing this, his wife is kind of consoling them, and we get that kind of like backstory on them, like when she says that, oh yeah, I remember when you first got your powers, I felt like a lucky girl and stuff because no other girl experienced that and stuff. And again, I enjoy, like I said, I like Jefferson and Lynn's interactions with one another. It's very natural. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel tropey, and stuff. And I know most people, when we get to it later and stuff, they might think that's tropey, but it doesn't feel tropey. It feels like there was a legit connection there, and his superheroing kind of basically botched it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Like their dialogue, it just like chemistry, but great acting at the same time. Like even though there was some great action moment and there was a lot of interesting deaths and things that happened dramatic wise, their dialogue was the most interesting part about this episode. Like if their dialogue hadn't been what it would have been like a make or break for this episode being a filler or being like a real substantial second episode, because with their open dialogue, it showed who he used to be and what he wants to be, and his struggle in between those two things. And even like what's the dude's name? Gammy? I think his name's Gammy.
Yeah.
That conversation, I thought that was dope. There's a lot of great dialogue and screenplay in this one.
Yeah, and the thing of it is too is that, so, you know, at this point, you know, like I said, him and his wife, they kind of have a situationship. Even though they're divorced, they still have a situationship where clearly the door is open for them to reconcile. Because if you remember from the first episode and stuff, that was the big thing of, hey, you know, he had to quit being Black Lightning, or they were going to, or it wasn't going to happen, and he went out and got hurt, and his wife was like, I can't do this. And that's why they split up and stuff. And you saw in episode 1 where she was like, hey, save our kids. And she's realizing after that happened, like, hey, you know what? I opened that door for you to become Black Lightning. He's like, no, I'm done with this. And we end up cutting to like a big, you know, like a parent, like a little parent, like kind of like a little community organization at the school. And we find out that the hotel that the girls got taken to, it's still open for business because one of the parents, Lawanda, she lost a daughter to there and stuff. And he basically says that, hey, you know, trying to get my daughter back and you need to help them out. They're still open and stuff. And Jefferson does, because for Jefferson, he's still in that position where he's like, hey, I don't want to sit there and be Black Lightning. I want to still try to sit there and be the principal that can help everybody out and stuff. And I think it was actually pretty cool, but it seems like a lot of the adults are just like, no, that's not going to work. You know, we need more than just, hey, you know, your word and stuff, you know. And I thought that was interesting that Lawanda is the one that was really just kind of going ham, like, no, you need to help my daughter out now.
Yeah, that's that. I thought that was really interesting because it showed two different things that I guess we're going to bring it up a little bit later on. The fact that a lot of the older adults know who he is. Not just that he's the principal, but that he's the quote-unquote Black Jesus, like the man that could get stuff done. Even like from a street cred standpoint, like the guys that Lala was around, they were like, you know, even though they were taunting him, they knew exactly who he was. And I was like, this is crazy because now you people know who you used to be, but you have to do something else. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's such a great character dilemma that a lot of superhero movies or shows never even touch. Because they don't have a family. They don't have, like, you know, circumstances that happened in the past that affect, you know, their present situation. Yeah. But well, yeah, I felt bad for her, man. But using that Dr. King quote.
Hey, listen. I thought it was interesting how Tobias was just like going off a little bit on just everything, and you just hear a lot of like, damn, boss, you really hate black people? It's like, no, I love black people. I hate incompetent, thick-lipped, scratch-weird, don't itch Negroes like you. I was like, yo, we're saying Negroes on the CW, dog? Like, this is where we at? I mean, I ain't mad, but this is where we at right now? Like, all right, that's what's up, man. I like Tobias, man. Like, we'll get to it later, but I like Tobias. I want to see. They really are not pulling any punches with Tobias. He kind of reminds me of Kingpin with a splash with Cottonmouth, with how he's like really got that charisma going for him and stuff.
Yeah, and even I think was it Inspector Henderson? He used Negroes as well.
Yeah.
Like when he went up to his house.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, this is not a CW show. And if somebody tried to convince me otherwise, like I will deny it every time. But I love Tobias. Like, it was weird because we met that dude at the after party, and I was like, this dude's huge.
Yeah.
And like his character from episode 1 to episode 2, he stayed on track of who he says he is. Yeah. And I'm just like, yo, what happened that he thinks that Black Lightning's dead? Like, he had to have had some real big falling out.
They got beef. Let's get that. Don't get that twisted. They got beef, and like you said, he thought Black Lightning was dead. Because I mean, granted, it goes back to the first episode when we got the flashback where he's sitting in the tub bleeding. So maybe that's where he assumes, I thought Black Lightning was dead. Because I mean, look, Jefferson was looked like he was on the brink of death.
Yes, he did. He looked bad.
Yeah, he looked very bad. So it's like, oh yeah, he was about to die for a second, So yeah, I could see that being a thing where he thought dude was dead. I mean, I remember when remember the initial pilot trailer that they had. It was kind of like a sizzle reel.
Mm-hmm.
I remember them showing the flashback to when he rolled into the school and was getting shot up.
Yeah, I remember that too because he had his old costume, right?
Yeah, he had his old costume. So I'm like, I seem to remember that. Yeah, like, so what happened with that?
Yeah, it's funny because when we were at the after party, I talked to Chris and I took a picture with him. But I asked him, I was like, dude, like some of the best scenes are these flashback scenes of you in your old costume. Like, are we ever going to see any more of that? He was like, well, not in an episode, but throughout the season, you're going to see a lot of things revealed from these flashback moments. So I'm pretty sure we're going to probably see that later.
So
see how that pans out.
So it's arrow tier where it's like, oh yeah, you'll get the flashbacks,
I'm fine with because they look dope. Like
yeah.
It's weird.
So, yeah, man. I mean, and then on top of that, so Lawanda and Jefferson clearly like they have a connection, and we found out that Lawanda had a son, and he was in the military, got shot, and she's just saddened by that, and she doesn't want to lose a daughter. And Lawanda, she's a mom on fire because she's like, yo, I'm just gonna sit there and park outside the hotel, and you can't tell me nothing. And I thought that was actually like, yo, because any other show, and I don't want to say this is a black thing, but I think you need a black writer because if there wasn't a black writer, I think it would be a situation where Lawanda would have just chilled at home and just let Jefferson do it.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of spoke a lot to me because I was like, yeah, if that was my mom, she'd be like, yo, I'm going to camp out in front of here. This is happening.
Yeah.
And I thought that little touch was interesting when they showed that. I was like, all right, cool. We getting this. All right. I'm fine with this and such. So
yeah.
What ends up happening after that is we cut to his daughter, his youngest actually. And she's on the phone, and clearly, this guy at school likes her and stuff. And Jennifer. She's sitting out front, and the little kid that Lala chastised in the first episode, he rolls up there like he's selling candy, and shoots Jennifer with blood. And clearly, she's still freaked out. Now, last week when we saw at the end of the episode, Anissa is still freaked out. She had her little PTSD moment when she woke up after, from what happened at the school and the gunshots and all that stuff. So she's freaked out. Jennifer, throughout this whole episode, she's kind of sort of going through it a little bit and stuff. She's cutting up. She's actually drinking at school. She's smoking on the roof when we see her. When a dude rolls up there and stuff. He's smoking on the roof, which you don't really pay much attention because you're thinking, okay, she's going through it, fine. That's to be expected. But the drinking that you see later on, it's like, okay, that's what we're doing. All right, that okay, And I'm actually glad that her boyfriend came through and was like, hey, look, no, you can't be doing this. What had me going, though, is the fact that her boyfriend was like, hey, just stop doing all this and stuff. And, hey, once everything happens and all that stuff, we can, leave out of town and stuff. To which I'm like, you're dead. Anytime somebody says that, oh, yeah, we're going to go out of town and have a happy life, I'm like, oh, you're going to die?
Yeah. Like, he went and gave that speech like, I got these aspirations. I was like, Ricky!
Basically.
No, I was like, oh, no. He ain't going to make it,
He's like, no. Now, do you think that's going to be the thing that's going to to get her powers going and really pop her off and have her going apeshit in her power sets, or what?
I think that she's gonna have this moment of reaction because she's very different from her sister. Both of them are dealing with trauma differently.
Yeah.
Her sister is needing comfort and needing to act out and do something civil to do stand up for what she believes, and then the other sister's man, forget all this. I need to feel something different than what I'm feeling. So I think that he's gonna be tied to it. But I don't know because it's weird because the guy that plays her boyfriend plays this guy named Chuck on Riverdale. And that guy is not a good guy. He normally is a villain.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there thinking, I was like, all right, both of these relationships that these daughters are in, like, is it possible that Tobias got to these people and like are gonna use them later? I didn't trust them. I didn't trust either one of the relationships, which is crazy. Which I like that in a show though.
Yeah, yeah, it was cool. Like I said, she got a boyfriend and stuff, and like he's kind of keeping her on the straight and narrow now. Which I was thinking they were going to do like multi episodes where she's drinking at school still, but I'm glad they kind of they basically nipped that in the bud and stuff.
Yeah.
So Jefferson is chastising his boy, the cop, and Inspector Henderson, and he slips up. Jefferson slips up there where he's like, "Yeah, that boy fell off the second floor and fell down. How is he still walking?" And I was like, "Oh, hey dude, you kind of snitched on yourself there." And he's like, "How'd you know?" And he's like, "My daughters told me." And I was like, "Nice recovery there, Jefferson. Nice recovery."
Well, see, this is the weird misconception though. After the pilot, I was led to believe that everybody knows who Jefferson is, that he is Black Lightning. Then the second episode comes, and I was like, okay, the daughter's like, oh, we saw a glare of light, we don't know who it was. The cop, it can be led to believe that he knows, he's just kind of being hush-hush about it. He's kind of being more of a Jim Gordon kind of situation.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like the second episode switched it up for me because I was like, most people seem like they know. But then the people that should know don't. And I'm really confused by that. Even Tobias, I'm really surprised Tobias don't know.
Yeah. I mean, so Jefferson confronts Lala after that. And, clearly Jefferson sits there and tries to flex on Lala, and it doesn't go as well as he thinks it does because Jefferson got Lala got his boys there, and stuff. And, Jefferson was about ready to flex with his powers, and he had to keep himself in check because he don't want to blow up the spot and make it known that he's, like Black Lightning. But clearly, shit's about to go down,
Yeah.
Anissa's in a relationship with another woman. Did not expect that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I was just like, didn't see that coming.
Yeah, because I think that she's technically the first on television Black LGBTQ superhero.
Yeah, I had to think about that because I was like thinking, I don't know if you watched the 100 or not.
I hadn't watched it.
I think there might be a black woman on there that's LGBTQ. Wow, I ain't botching that up.
You weren't the only one.
Yeah, I know. It's just the acronym is throwing me off. But yeah, it kind of threw me off. I was like, oh, interesting. That's didn't see that coming.
It was so. I mean, it's the thing that I'll say, and Jarrell even kind of touched on this when he was doing his review, is that it just kind of naturally happened, and you kind of like left in shock for a second.
Yeah,
and then you're like, okay, that's who her character is.
Well, I mean, in the comics, she had a relation. She was in a relationship with somebody else, and she was Amazon.
Yeah.
So it's not out of the realm of being like, oh, this is new. It's just like if you didn't know, you'd be like, oh, well, that's the thing. I think I vaguely knew, but I didn't really kind of put two and two together. And then I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's dope. And that was something else that I liked that the show didn't really throw out there. They just made it a natural thing. They didn't say, oh, yeah, Anissa, she's also lesbian. They didn't make that the focal point of her character. It's like, no, she just has a relationship, and that's that. And I think that's cool. It's kind of like I always keep on pointing out the captain from Flash. He's gay.
Yeah, exactly.
But they don't. It's not a big deal. Yeah, Mr. Terrific. It's like they don't make a big deal. It's like, oh, okay, that happened. All right, cool, dope. Continue. Let's go. And I like that they have that relationship because it seems to me that, and maybe I'm reading in too much into this. Do you feel Anissa told her folks that she's lesbian?
I think that she's apprehensive about it herself. I think that the whole reason of the dialogue was like her asking her, why haven't I met your folks? Why haven't I met your dad?
Well, she said she hasn't went to her folks' house. Now, it was her girlfriend saying that Anissa hasn't went to her folks' house. So I guess she knows Anissa's folks, but Anissa doesn't know her folks.
Interesting.
So it's like Anissa. It sounds like Anissa's kind of dodging it, but like you said, maybe it's a thing where she, isn't fully out.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be connected to it because the thing about, you got a dad that's a principal.
Yeah.
Like, presentation is everything. Mm-hmm. And you already got, like, your sister just acting all out. And then it's like you're getting, like, arrested for being kind of a freedom fighter. And now you got this. So it's like she's probably trying to intentionally dodge it. But this is the other thing that we didn't bring up. When we were talking about the whole Tobias thing with Lala, right? And he gave him that whole dialogue. A lot of people thought they put a BSM like muzzle on Lala. Mm-hmm. When he made the reference to slave, I was thinking like those slave muzzles that they used to put on like slaves.
Oh man! See, I thought it was the GIMP thing from Pulp Fiction. That's what I thought that was.
I thought it because I know for a fact they wouldn't be able to use like a slave muzzle, but when he made the dialogue and then he added up there, I think a lot of people they got that lost in translation. So I was like, slave muzzle, like this is what you are to me, and I was just like, yo, this show. First off, I mean what we just talked about with the kind of semi-sex scene and them just sitting there naked, and then the muzzle and the dialogue, like. None of these shows on CW are on this kind of level.
Well, I mean, even on top of that, like the kind of like on top of that, you got the dialogue with Jefferson and Lynn, and this has been the focal point of this episode with those two. Is like Lynn, she feels as though she pushed Jefferson to become Black Lightning again, and even though Jefferson is saying no, I'm done with Black Lightning to placate her. Later on, she has a conversation. She has a conversation with Peter. James Ramar's character, and they're having that thing where Peter's basically like, hey, I don't think Jefferson wants to stop being Black Lightning. I think he wants to sit there and do that, but he stopped doing it for you. Yep. And stuff. So it's like they're having that thing, and at first you're like, is Peter blaming her? And Peter's like, no, I'm not really fully blaming you. Because even Lynn asked him about this. She's like, are you blaming me for this? And she was like, I mean, kind of, but I mean... I don't know if you're at fault, It's like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, because she kept on saying, like, you don't want to fall into your addiction. Like, I get, even Barry Allen has been guilty of, like getting into the rush and being, like, a hero and, like, the fame behind it. But it was deeper than that. She put it off as, in her mind, she told herself, like, look, I'm a neuroscientist. I understand how the brain works. But she even said she doesn't understand how the heart works. Yeah. She doesn't understand how to push yourself to make yourself more for a group that might kill you. Like she doesn't see past that's her husband. It's like he saw something totally different. And that's the same thing what Gambit was trying to tell her. Like you say that he's addicted to this, but he's really addicted to you. He's really addicted to trying to appease and be this other thing and denying himself. But it's weird though because I feel like both of them are right in it's a middle ground there somewhere because he can't be everything for the community. He has two girls. He can't put them back in the womb. Like they are there and he has to be able to also take responsibility for them too. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, and like I said, when you get to the end of the episode, Lynn kind of makes that decision. I won't say she walked out on him. I just took it as her kind of like she's still trying to resolve her feelings about it. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, she doesn't want to see Jefferson get hurt again. Because let's be real about this, that bathroom tub scene with him bleeding out like that, that scared the shit out of her.
It did.
Which, understandable. Very understandable.
Yeah. Like, I mean, everybody's dealing with different forms of trauma. And even with him, like, it's got to be something inside of him. It's like, you know how, like, you got a football player, when they get a broken leg or they get something broke or hurt, it's something's never the same mentally. Even if they get their body back, physically back, mentally there's still something off. And I think that when we saw him in the beginning, like, I was like, he was in so much pain. I was like, why is his powers surging? Like, what else is really going on with him mentally and physically?
Yeah, I mean, so, Lala. I have to say, again, the music. Lattimore, Let's Straighten It Out. he's singing along to this song, waiting for his boys to come there, and his cousin is there.
Yep.
And his cousin Will's there, and Lala ends up shooting him point blank in the head, and he's dead. And again, I like that the music was the kind of like the background music, the background song for this scene. Like, it's just Lala, he's singing along, goes out there, does what he gotta do, singing along with the lyrics, goes back in the car, and it just smooth, just goes straight to it. And I was like, this is I like this. I can't say this enough. This is crazy. Man. And again, I didn't think he was gonna kill his cousin. I honest to God didn't think he was gonna do it.
Oh man. I did not see that coming at all, because when he pointed the gun, like, I was like, okay, I know he's got to do this, and I know he's probably had his cousin in that car for a long period of time, but when he shot him, I was like, dang. But then I don't know what was worse when the woman got shot. Because when she got shot, like, he kind of was like, man, I'm fed up today, leave me alone, don't touch me. As soon as she touched him, he was like, forget this. Pop, pop, pop. And he just unloaded 3 bullets in her chest. Like, he didn't shoot her in the leg. He was just like bumping.
So check it. Lawanda is at the hotel, and earlier on, Jefferson had told her, hey, give me 48 hours, and I can find your daughter, and everything will be fine. And she's like, fine. She's at the hotel, and she leaves her phone there, and she goes to confront Lala, and Lala's like, hey, get that camera out my face. And I'm thinking at worst, he was going to backhand her or something like that, or whatever. But again, like you said, he unloaded, was it 4 or 5 shots?
At least.
I mean, and I gotta say, again, it goes back to what Tobias was saying. It was like, hey, dog, like, you do a lot of unnecessary shit to cause heat. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, no, like, for real. Like, he just straight up. I mean, well, it's weird, though. This is the thing now. To be fair, his cousin had to be dealt with.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't. She like, it was already evident that she was targeting him. But it's weird, man. Like, Tobias, like, when he went up into that jail and, like, got to old boy, and, like, he had the police's back, I was like, yo, he might end up winning that #1 spot over Cottonmouth for me, because that was a straight up G move that he did.
Yeah. Yeah, it was there. I mean, it was smooth as hell. It was like, shot her 4 or 5 times. His boys got the body dipped. And, he just kept going about his business. I'm like, damn, dog, really? Like, that's what's up? And just Jefferson's face, like, after hearing that Lawanda, like, got shot and killed, it was just like, damn, I feel bad for you, man. Like, that was somebody that you knew in the community and stuff. And like I said, that was a big thing that, again, Jefferson had to realize. It was like, hey, look, I think it was one line that he said to Lynn. I think it was along the lines of, like, I thought I could save her, and I thought I could save so many, and I'm living a lie. He basically was saying, like, I thought that I could live, hoping that we could live behind, like, kind of like, what, a picket fence or something like that?
Yeah.
And he's realizing it's a pipe dream right now, especially with the state of where the city is in. So, and I thought that was cool. It was just like that realization that, hey, I thought I could do it as the principal. Because that was the big thing with the first episode, is that he was like, yeah, I saved more lives as the principal than I did as Black Lightning. And I think it's starting to just come full circle on the fact that ultimately, it wasn't going to last that long.
No, it wasn't. And it's just hard because I forget who made the statement. I think that Gamby said, no, Black Lightning actually said it. He was like, look, no matter what, I will have these powers till I die. Mm-hmm. And you expect me to do absolutely nothing. Even if I didn't go full time, like, you told me that this was a God-given gift. And I was like, yo, Chris, I see you, Scooter. You showed up acting chops. I was like, daggone, get me emotional.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what it is and stuff. So he finally decides to suits backs up, and and again we get more music, and this time it's what music? What song was it? I want to say, Billy Paul, Am I Black Enough for You?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the one where he's going up, and he's kind of having his. I thought it was awesome how the doorman was like, "Oh yeah, he's upstairs on top floor." Just straight up told him, you know, an elevator dude told him and stuff, and he's just taking out dude. He's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna take the stairs." I thought it was cool. He just came up there, did his business. At first, I thought that wasn't Lala that he punched when he came in through the door, and I was like, "Oh, that was Lala. Oh, that was quick and anticlimactic. All right, cool. You know, it's like that happened. All right, you know."
Shoot, man.
So
we're gonna find out later that there's like deleted scenes, like my man sitting there just murking folks before he got to Lala.
Hey,
they just didn't have. They had to cut it for time.
Hey, if this is a Netflix show, that would have been the Netflix hallway fight with him fighting up the stairs. Because it really did look like, oh shit, we got the obligatory hallway fight scene. Let's go.
Gotta be one.
Yeah, like I said, the suit's growing on me a little bit. Like I said, I got, you know, I just want to see more. From what I'm hearing, apparently the suit kind of evolves over the course of the series, which I think is cool. So we'll see how it plays out. So clearly the police get there, and before he can kind of deal the killing blow, they're like, "Hey, freeze!" And then he's like, "Oh, I see you guys doing your job," and he just dips. So
yeah,
we cut to Lala. He's getting interrogated, and our boy assistant tells him, "Hey, Henderson was like, hey, so we got you dead to rights because Lawanda's phone caught you shooting her in cold blood, so you're already done. You're done. Your boy's already about to snitch you out, so you're done. So yeah, we're just gonna call you in for questioning." To which I was like, "Yeah, that's not gonna last because yeah, Tobias comes in there and he clearly again has cops on the payroll, and Tobias has super strength apparently." Because he basically chokes out Lala with one hand.
Yeah, I was like, did he crush his neck? Because he had like such a firm grip on him. Like he didn't lift him off the ground or anything, but like, yeah, he definitely got him with one arm.
I was like, so Tobias, like, he got some strength of some kind. We'll see. And he just puts his glass back on and rolls out. So again, he has cops on the payroll, clearly. And yeah, so and that makes me wonder: is Henderson on his payroll? Maybe, I don't know.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, even when I did my reaction, I was asking him. I was like, "So did Lala turn my boy in? Like, does Henderson know?" Because it's evident that Tobias has, you know, the police in his pocket, completely.
Yeah.
And like when the first episode pilot came up there, and like Henderson was talking about, you know, how things were still the same. There's nothing we can do about it. And even in this episode, it's kind of implied, like, Jefferson was like, yo, how did I not know that this was a situation?
Yeah.
I was kind of like, man, maybe this cop did what Jefferson did and turned a blind eye to the point that it was like, well, this is the lesser of two evils. Like, I could go and wage war with Tobias, or people could die all over the place.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. But my question to you is, do you think that Richardson knows that Jefferson is Black Lightning? I feel like he has to, right?
I want to say it's the Jim Gordon thing where Jim Gordon knew Bruce was Batman but just didn't say anything and just kept up the rules that he didn't know.
Yeah.
Which I think is a fine thing because it kind of keeps that dynamic going without there being like, "Jefferson, is that you?" and you know, and all that stuff. It's just straight up that's just what it is and stuff. So I think that is going to be interesting. But speaking of interesting, so Anissa, we saw last episode at the end, you know, she manifested powers a bit with the super strength. She's getting some looking through some materials at a CVS and is getting robbed. And she's having a panic attack, and she eventually grabs the robber and throws him like 2 owls over and stuff, and he's done. And it sounds like she kind of is like, "Oh, I got powers now. Mm-hmm. Dope. I want to see where this goes." And she just puts the pills down and walks out. I was like, huh. To which I'm like, that's going to be interesting when she sees how her powers manifest.
Exactly.
And if she tells her girlfriend about it, Chiona. Yeah, Chinoa, that's her name. If she tells her about it, you know, and stuff. Because at most she told her was, yeah, it's just last night for some reason. It's just, you know, I broke the sink to break my fall, and it's just that happened. I don't know what to say, you know. So, yeah, I think it's... I mean, look, we already saw we already saw the whole thing with her in the costume on the promos.
That joint looks dope. Her costume almost looks better than his.
Yeah, so yeah, man. I am interested to see how her powers it gets used and stuff. Because I mean, apparently, like I think in the comics, she has like basically increase her density and such, so she can basically be invulnerable, and she can also make like shockwaves. Hence why her name is Thunder. So there's that. But yeah, man, this episode was pretty dope, man. Like I said, we got bodies everywhere, people dying, and you know, people kind of, like I said, Lynn and Jefferson kind of coming at this crossroads of where they're gonna go, which I didn't expect to come this early. I really didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that previews though, man. That's gonna be interesting. He's building something else so he can shoot his powers like a gun.
That's what it looks like. And then they had like Jill Scott randomly there. I think she's gonna be what's that villain's name?
Hold up. I think I know. Hold up.
Some Eve. Get what it is.
Hold up. Because I completely forgot the name.
Lady Eve.
Yeah, Lady Eve. Yeah, Lady Eve. So, yeah, I'm kind of seeing what her connection is to Tobias and stuff. And if anything, I can't wait to see her and Tobias in a scene together because you know they're gonna chew the scenery up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm just really curious how all this is gonna pan out because even though you know you just got Lady Eve coming up, like Jefferson has a real task in front of him. Because when he finds out that his daughters have powers, not only does he have to proactively figure out if he's going to be a hero himself, how is he going to keep his daughters safe when they have the same exact ambition as him? Yeah. They're going to want to try to protect their neighborhood.
Well, I think that's the interesting thing about this show is that for the first time, and I think me and Dee were talking about this offline, I was saying this is kind of the first time that we got a CW hero that's outside the young demographic. Because think about it, you know, Arrow is young, you know, Flash is young, Supergirl is young, and here you have this middle-aged Black Lightning and stuff, who is like a legacy hero. Well, he's not is he a legacy hero? Well, I don't know why I'm using legacy as though I'm saying he's older. He's an older hero, and his daughters are the ones that are kind of like on the come up as the next generation of heroes that fit into that category of the age group of what Arrow and Flash are and stuff. So it's like kind of interesting seeing that dynamic happening.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely going to be really dope. I'm really curious to see how they're going to actually plan all this out. Yeah. And like I said, I keep saying it don't feel like a CW show. Like I could, if, I don't know how they would bring Oliver Queen, Supergirl, or anybody like on the scene. And I guess the other question I was going to have to you is like, where does this take place? Because
it takes place in Arrowverse. It's just in a different area altogether. That's that. I mean, because apparently there was like Easter eggs that it does take place in the Arrowverse.
I mean, but is it in like Metropolis? Is it in like a different city that we don't know, like Chicago, Detroit? Like where? Because like there's different moments where I'm like, okay, this is definitely the hood. Then I'm like, this doesn't seem like the hood. It seems like suburbs. So I can't pinpoint where this show is taking place because I need to gauge like what's the danger everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like apparently somebody, because I forgot where I heard it from. Somebody says it takes place in the Arrowverse, but it's very loose. So I think it's just in its own thing until they figure out a way to kind of tie it all in, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to tie it all in. Hell, it could be in his own universe for all we know. It's kind of hard for me to say that it takes place in Supergirl's universe just because Superman exists. So it's like, wow, okay, so yeah. So it's a possibility it takes place in Arrowverse just in its own different area and stuff like that. So I'm fine with that. I am perfectly content. Like I said, right now, I'm content with it telling its own story because it's, like I said, 2 episodes in, man, it's really good.
Yes.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Like I said, bodies, people dying. It's like, holy crap. Like, okay, wow. Yeah, so.
I'm real surprised how good it really is. And other thing is like Lawanda as an episode title, and then the next one's gonna be the Book of the Burial. This one's the Book of Hope. I don't understand the connection with that. I guess the Book of Hope was hope that like Black Lightning is coming back, but what does the Book of Burial mean?
Well, I mean, the Book of Burial, I think also since Lady Eve is there, her character, from what I remember the synopsis, was that she owns a funeral home. So maybe it ties into that whole thing and stuff, you know. Because I think the next couple episodes is like the Book of Burial, Black Jesus, you know. So it's like, all right, it's interesting. So yeah, like I said, we'll see how it goes and stuff. Like I said, this was another solid episode and stuff easily. I really didn't have any gripes and stuff. So we will see how it all pans out and stuff. And yeah. But you got any final thoughts before we head out?
I don't think I ever gave it like a number review because it just felt like a continuation of the first episode. Like honestly, if they had played this episode and the first episode back to back on the same night and skipped over the Flash that day, like I would have felt like that was the perfect cohesion because these both work hand in hand. I just can't wait to see what's going to happen next. I can't wait to talk about this more, and I'm just proud of like how this show is working out. Like I really am. Yeah. Like I don't know how to describe it.
It's amazing, man. It is amazing. So yeah, folks. With that in mind, thanks Sam for jumping on. Definitely you guys should subscribe to his YouTube page alongside ours. Like I said, he got a lot of reaction videos. His reaction videos summed up how Black Twitter was on all those things. It's like, you know, just the deaths and everything. It was crazy and stuff. So yeah, man. Yeah, so I guess hopefully, you know, we get you back on next week and such.
Yeah.
And do this. So, with that in mind, folks, we will catch you guys later. Peace out.
Later, y'all.
Sit yourself down, girl, and talk to me. Tell me what's on your mind. Don't keep on telling me everything's okay. 'Cause if it was, then you wouldn't be crying. You've been tossing and turning in your sleep lately, sitting around pouting all day long. Now how in the hell you expect me to understand when I don't even know what's wrong? Let's straighten it out. Let's straighten it out. Let's straighten